Wales, chapter 1 or 2, blah 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 blah. Obviously went to North Africa. Well, obviously, first of all, elements did the Bruneval raid February 42, hung around a bit, got some operations planned, cancelled in the rest of 42, and then Browning managed to get them sent to North Africa as part of Operation Sword, the Anglo-American invasion of North Africa, Algeria, Tunisia, blah blah blah. Spent several happy months, probably not in North Africa, from sort of November through to July, when they took part in Sicily. Whilst they were in North Africa, the brigade of about 2,000 men suffered 1,700 casualties. Just from memory, when you looked at it in Tunisia, most of the war diaries for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd Battalion state that by the end of the Tunisian campaign, no company had more than about 30 to 40 men in it, instead of the usual 90 to 100 or so. So anyway, so over the coming months, weeks, took part in Sicily operation, went to Italy, came back in December 43, went to the East Midlands, Lincolnshire, Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire. That's about it, isn't it? Woodall Spa down there, Spalding. Obviously got built up to strength again, so by the time of September 44, 2,000 roughly strong. Obviously, won't bore you with all the 17 cancelled operations, but obviously when you look at that, it's probably fair to say that the 1st Parachute Brigade was not the battle-hardened, experienced formation that some authors and commentators like to have you believe. There were still 18 and 19-year-olds who'd never been in combat and came here on the 17th of September. By 1944, September 1944, the brigade was commanded by Brigadier Gerald Lathbury, nicknamed Legs because he was about 6'3" tall. He had been a previous CO of the 3rd Battalion as well, one of the first COs were there. The landing strength, according to most accounts, various accounts cobbled together, the Brigade HQ and Defence Platoon 82 men, the 1st Parachute Battalion 548, the 2nd Parachute Battalion 525, the 3rd Parachute Battalion 588, the 1st Air Landing Anti-Tank Battery, but of course came by glider, still part of the brigade for this operation, 191, the 1st Para Squadron Royal Engineers 143, and of course last and no means least, bringing up the rear, 16 Parafield Ambulance, 135, giving a total men in the brigade roughly 2,212. And obviously the 1st Brigade had been given the ultimate prize at Arnhem, that of taking the British over the Rhine, with 2 of the battalions heading towards the centre of Arnhem. Lathbury's thinking in this was along those lines, that they would arrive in force at the road bridge more quickly going on separate routes than if they went in a single column, strung out over miles across the countryside. Obviously, in doing that, by going on different routes, he lost command and control, but in order to gain speed, he would gain speed and hence time to concentrate his force quicker on the ultimate objective. The risk that there would be serious opposition on both routes, that he would not be able to concentrate his forces to overcome them, but he thought it was a risk worth taking, so that's what he did. So the 1st Parachute Battalion obviously was sent to the north under David Dobie to get to this high ground through which the road north to Appledorn run. It was a road down which German reinforcements could be expected to come, and it was also the road that 30 Corps was meant to be using on their way up to the Ryder Day. Obviously they were only meant to hold that for 24 hours until 4th Parachute Brigade came along and relieved them on the 2nd day. So obviously they went from Renkenheath, which we'll probably drive past tomorrow, unfortunately, but not today, go to Wolfhazer Station, then alongside the track north of the railway, and then to strike north, go past Johanna Hervey Farm, which is sort of just behind us where we were yesterday afternoon, to hit the main Arnhem Road, and that was codenamed Leopard, obviously until reaching the outskirts of Arnhem where they would branch left. 2nd Parachute Battalion under John Frost were to take the southernmost route, and in fact did come along this road in the afternoon of the 17th, so their RV point on DZX was at the southern end, very close to where we will probably be stopping for lunch tomorrow, because I believe the new location is the Airborne Cafe. So obviously they started, the 2nd Battalion started off from there, went down to where the 6th Pounder Memorial is now, then through some streets through Dorway, and it came along this road here. This obviously was called Lion Route, and obviously with the 2nd Battalion there was half of B Troop from the 1st Para Squadron Royal Engineers, part of 2 platoon 9th Airborne Field Company, 4 6-pounder anti-tank guns with a 5th joining later, the battery commander Major Arnold, and most of his HQ from the 1st Air Landing Anti-Tank Battery. The 2nd Battalion had obviously been trusted with a number of important objectives, probably because of John Frost's reputation as being one of known as a thruster. He had to seize the road and the railway bridges, with the road bridge being the absolute priority, and then to establish a defensive perimeter on the south bank around the road bridge, ready to reach 34 when they arrived, hopefully within 48 hours. A force also was to be detached if possible to capture the German Army HQ in Arnhem, and a bit more about that little force later. 3rd Parachute Battalion, that was under the command of Lieutenant Colonel John Phipps, originally from the Manchester Regiment. He again had a troop of 6-pounder anti-tank guns, a section of medics from 16, half of C Troop from the Para Squadron Engineers, and they were to go on Tiger Route, which was the centre road, which is basically the one that runs past the Hartenstein into Arnhem, and their job was to assist, to capture and hold, to assist the 2nd Battalion, I do apologise, to capture and hold the north end of the road bridge. So they were meant to have the north end, with the 2nd Battalion taking the southern end. Obviously the brigade landed at around 1410 on DZX, almost a perfect drop, with many veterans remarking in later years it was almost like an exercise. Obviously after moving to their respective RVs and reporting in, permission was eventually given to move on. The timetable roughly for that afternoon was about 14:10, the para drop was complete. 14:45, the battalion put their RVs and on the brigade wireless net. Fortunately, the radio sort of worked because they only had to change it to about half a mile here, so they did, this is one of the cases they did work. By about 3 o'clock, 1500, the 2nd and 3rd Battalion set off, and at 15:30 the 1st Battalion ordered to move, and Brigadier Lathbury left his HQ, and at 15:45 the Brigade HQ and the other attached units set off, basically with KIA. I'm not sure, we really won't be sure what time they arrived in this area, but they left the drop zone at about 3 o'clock, so we've got to say it must have been about 4, 4:30 to 5 in the afternoon when they arrived here, and we've still got 4 miles to go to the bridge. I'm just going to look at my friend David. Do you wish to add anything about B Company of the 2nd Battalion on their way from the drop zone to this area?
Well,
you can give me a John Waddy answer if you like. No?
No.
Okay then. If you don't have any questions, comments, observations from anybody?
Just a quickie, what was their planned arrival time?
Good question, well put. Don't think it's ever been ever seen it written down.
No,
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
in fact they didn't set off till 2, 3, 4, whatever.
I've never, seriously Gary, I've never ever seen a time said you must be on the
No.
line. I don't think it's ever laid down. It's just said you will take the bridge. And it will take as long as it takes, you know, because that's the usual thing, isn't it? The commander, Urquhart's given his orders to say, Gerald, you're to take the bridge, your brigade is to take the bridge, and so Lathbury's then gone to Frost and said, you're going to take the southern end, Frost, you're going to go on this route, or as planners have said, and you've got to get there. And I don't think a time, I've never seen a time given down. Don't know if anybody else has.
No.
Good question, well put. We'll have a look at that one, but I'd say.
Took it fast, that was a bloody moment.
Well, I mean, obviously,
They were obviously the blokes there who were thinking, well, they'd just be doing it all when you got there, wasn't it?
because obviously, in spite of the fact that I've seen an intelligence summary, some really